Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this new Strategic Narrative Underground session, number 6, if I'm correct. My name is Guillaume Wiatr. I am the principal and founder of MetaHelm. MetaHelm specializes in strategic storytelling. We help CEOs, executive team leadership, and executive leadership teams, entrepreneurs, build a strategic narrative so they can unlock new levels of profit and engagement within their business. Every Thursday, I invite you to join me for a 30-minute session about a topic that I've been writing about in the current book that I'm working on called Temporarily a Pattern Language for Strategic Narrative. Today, I would like to talk about a topic that I call the perspective story. As you probably know by now, my point of view on strategic narrative is that stories and narratives are different. Stories treat people as an audience, narratives treat people as participants. And that has major implication if you're in business, if you're trying to create an organization that has big ambitions, that want to seem like a movement, that want to engage people in drastic change, in launching innovation, new products. It is important that you think about narrative in a specific way, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So let me share my slides so that I guide you through basically 15, 20 minutes or so of talking, and then I'd like to get your feedback. The goal of this session is also for me to get your feedback on the ideas that I'm sharing with you. I'm excited when people tell me, hey, I've tried what you talked about, and this worked. This, I wasn't quite sure. Can you help me further? Today, we're going to talk about the perspective story. Did I say the perspective story the whole way today? I did, and that was a mistake. I want to talk about the opportunity story. Great. Okay, great start. So today I'm going to talk about the opportunity story, and here is why. Last week, so here's the model that I presented, a couple of weeks ago. This is how I see a strategic narrative. It's a systems of story. There are, in my perspective and based on my experience, 4 major sources of inspiration in a narrative, represented here by 4 stories. Last week, we reviewed what an origin story looks and sounds like. Today, we're going to focus on the opportunity story. There you go. Now, back on track. So the opportunity story. So at the end of this call, for those who haven't had the link already, I will share the link to the Google document where I'm working on this book manuscript. The talk today refers to one of the, I call them patterns. They are just like strategies, if you will. It refers to a pattern that I call the destination. And I was compelled to write about this because something I have seen for, really many, many years now is that we're really compelled when we talk about our business to focus on the product and why it's great and the features and benefit. And we dive into this topic right away. We forget to set context and we forget to explain why this matters in the grander scheme of things. And we forget to present what I call the opportunity first. The opportunity story is there to help you answer this question. Where are you taking us with your idea? And this answer can be treated really literally or a little more subtly. And that's what I want to illustrate here with a few examples first before we start and dissect what an opportunity story really is about. So here is, so I love burgers. And here is one of my favorite burger place in Seattle called Blue Moon Burger. It's just a few miles away from my home here. It's on Alki Beach, really nice place. It's on the beach in Seattle. Has a taste of California almost. And the place here is really well known for delicious burgers. There are literally hundreds of burger joints here in Seattle. But what makes this place special, besides the fact that they have delicious bacon burgers, is where they're taking us with their burger. And this is what they show on their t-shirt. In the back of the the t-shirt that people wear there's this statement: helping people feel good about bad choices. So in other words, where Blue Moon Burger is taking us is this place where you could feel good about the bad eating choices that you made. I think that this is quite a compelling and different proposition here, because who has never wondered, okay, if I eat this burger, what's the trade-off? How am I going to feel about this? Not only in my body, but also in my mind. There's always a little bit of that question when, we get to, say, a certain age. At least that's the question I'm asking myself every time I grab the big burger in my head. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Another example I found is in a completely different industry with the app called Slack. So by now, probably everybody here knows Slack, what Slack is, but just to put everybody on the same page, Slack is this app where you can collaborate more effectively. It replaces emails. This is a view of one of my Slack environments where I collaborate with other consultants for different kinds of work. It's interesting to see how Slack introduces the opportunity that they want to bring forward with their community. And you can find it right away as soon as you go on Google or your favorite search engine and type in Slack, and this is what you will see. Literally, you can do that today. Where work happens. Isn't that a great example of destination? That's where the opportunity lies. Where work happens in a new state of heightened efficiency for your team. These are my words, but that's what I take away from the opportunity that they're presenting. So you will notice that in these examples, we're not even talking really about the product yet. We're not talking about features and benefits and what it is and how much it costs. What we're pitching first, what we're presenting is, where is the ultimate place where you will land if you dare following us? That's what I call the opportunity story. Back to the food industry and back to Seattle, in fact, with Mud Pizza. Mud Pizza is now, I think country right. It's pretty much everywhere in the country, but it originated from Seattle around 2008, right in the middle of the financial crisis. Mud Pizza is this really interesting model. Did we really need another pizza place, another pizza chain? If it was just another one, maybe the answer would have been no, but we kind of needed a different kind of environment. And this is the destination where Mud Pizza is taking us, where we serve people. What's interesting here is how they treated the word serve, not just in the sense of serving, like I'm serving you, I'm serving customers in a restaurant, but maybe in a broader sense. And the destination that Mud wants to take us is a world where the community is employed and fed. And what Mud Pizza does is that they give opportunities to people who probably wouldn't necessarily easily find employment in other situations. People who have a hard time finding a job probably have a better chance with Mud Pizza. Mud Pizza has this amazing culture, including really this vibrant community of people working, amazing benefits, and so on. I don't work for them, I don't represent them, but it's one of the brands that I admire for the clarity of the narrative that they built and the opportunity story that they put forward, that they put together. So what I see in those three examples is really this idea of participation. That's really what I see here, is that you're presenting to me something, a product, a service, but before you do this, you're telling me that I have a choice, I have a say, I have something that I can do, something that I can follow. And that's a question that I'd like you to ask yourself as you're listening to this is, where are you taking us with your business? When I say us, it could be your buyers, it could be people around you, your partners, your investors, your employees, people you work with, your colleagues. What is the destination that you're dreaming and you're aiming to reach with them? So think about this question, because at the end of this short talk, I'd like to open it for questions, and maybe it's an opportunity for you to discuss it and get feedback. But what we're seeing here is that in that particular story, whereas in the origin story, it was all about you as the founder, maybe the person who started, who thought about doing something different. In this story, you're not the main character anymore. It's other people. The main character is not you or your company. Maybe it's a mix of different groups. So that difference here in the story creates something really, really important, which is a sense of belonging. I just wrote an article this week where I introduced this idea of you can figure out what your purpose is from 3 different perspectives. You can make sense of why your work matters based on why it matters to you. So that's the I bubble here individually. Maybe it matters in a specific way to your buyer, whoever uses your business, and also the community as in the broader sense of things. So it's really important to think about the story as the opportunity for these 3 broad categories of characters. It's not just about you anymore. It's about the people that you bring on this journey. Now, you can treat this story from a couple of angles, a couple of major approaches here. The 3 examples that I gave you, the burger place, Mud Pizza, and Slack, really talk about hope, about something that we can do better, about something more positive, a better state than where we are today. There's another way to think about this, which is more from a perspective of threat, because something in the environment maybe has changed. The conditions are such that if you don't change, if you don't move right away, if you don't pursue that opportunity, chances are you're going to be in trouble. Maybe you will even die. And that's what we see in this 4th example with Tesla. So this is Elon Musk presenting and introducing in, I think it was 2014 or 15, he's launching what's called Tesla Energy. And it's a launch of a product where they introduce battery packs that you can put next to your house to power your entire household. It's an 18-minute video. It's available on YouTube. You can watch it. I'm not going to play the video today because we don't have time. But there is an interesting approach that he's taking in the first 2 minutes of his talk. He's framing the opportunity based on the threat, a threat that most of us have heard as of today. It's the exponential increase of CO2 because we use fossil fuel. And that's what he says in the intro of his talk. This is where we are and where we're headed, and it sucks. And that creates a burning platform, that creates urgency to pursue the opportunity that he's going to talk about. That's what he says. I think we collectively should do something about this. This is a different approach. This is an approach that probably creates a stronger sense of urgency. It's also an approach that can generate anxiety within people. And I would argue that we already have a lot of problems, a lot of anxiety. So you want to be mindful when you use this narrative strategy of using it in a context that is appropriate for your business and your community. But if you look around, that's something you might have seen already. Now, the other thing that you want to think about when you frame your opportunity story is make sure that the opportunity is in reach. It's doable. You can get there because guess what? in the origin story, we've already said that we came across or the realization that things need to change. Maybe it was through a painful event. I used the example of Volvo and how the president of Volvo lost a relative in a car accident and decided that the opportunity that they were going to pursue is safety. So maybe you've done that and you've changed already and you went through that transformation and you went through that path. And so what you want to lay out is the foundation for a path that is accessible to people, repeatable to people. Maybe other people are going to copy you. As of today, if you think about Slack, Slack used to be a precursor, an innovator, a pioneer in their field. Many, and that was like probably already 7 to 10 years, not 10 years ago, but maybe 7 years ago, they launched Slack. If you look at how your apps, even Microsoft now has copied Slack, and many other technological platforms have copied this idea of let's not send email anymore, but let's work through feeds. So when people want to copy you, when people want to replicate you, it means that it is doable. It works. It is accessible, and that's going to happen. A good way to do that, and this is from the Slack website here, the Mod Pizza website. I just pull the page a little below here. A good way to do that is to share success stories. On the Mod Pizza blog, we can read about how Mod helps with opportunities in many different ways: feeding people, gathering people, helping people, communities take a stand for narrative like justice, safety, gun violence. You have to be able to talk about the success stories there. But it will require transformation. It's going to require a change there. So I have a practical tool for you, like called a basic archetype, similar to the one I shared with you last week for the origin story. And it could start like this: together, we will ... fill in the blank, do something, provide more opportunities, make people feel better about bad eating choices in order to ... That's the outcome that your opportunity provide. And then next comes a critical piece, which is what's at stake. If we don't do this, what might happen? Maybe something bad will be happen, or we're going to miss something, or we won't evolve, we won't grow. It's possible that we won't work as well as we could without Slack, and so on. You get my point. This is the template that I suggest that you start with, that gets you started. Just as any template, this is a guideline. If you want to morph it, it's okay. But again, the 3 components of your opportunity story are the following. First, blank space, a description of an action. What is this opportunity leading you to do? Number 2 is the outcome or impact of the opportunity. Where is this leading us towards? What's the better state? And number 3 are the stakes. If we don't do this, what might happen? So as I said earlier, I invited you to reflect on what is your opportunity story? What is the destination that you want to take people around you, whether you're a small business owner, an agency owner, or an IT or network company, or communication specialist, or a real estate agent. Yes, I'm talking about you guys. Because I know a little bit of what you do. Dana, I don't know what you do yet, but hopefully I'll find out. So here's my question that hopefully sparks a conversation after this talk. Where are you taking us? Jenny, is that okay if I put you on the spot for just a second?
Oh, yes, of course.
It's a safe spot. It's a safe spot. And
yes.
I know your story pretty well. So
yes.
Jenny is one of my clients. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes.
So
Thanks for doing this.
you're welcome. So where is your company taking us?
Well, we're hopefully taking the customer to a safer environment. That would be one thing. So protection of their cyber security. So we're making, let's see, we're taking the client to easier, more managed, and a better way of working.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, I guess, what our narrative would be. Let's see,
Right.
what else? Yeah.
It's already pretty big, right? I mean, we hear all the time about this, the cybersecurity concerns. Like I think last week there was one of the biggest meat packing companies in the United States got hacked. It's a very hot topic. It creates a lot of disruption.
Yeah.
In the couple of weeks before, it was the Colonial Pipeline. We couldn't get oil. We couldn't get gas. We couldn't drive anywhere. Your company is taking us where in a place where we should be less vulnerable about those attacks that are growingly concerning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. There you go. I know what your company does. I don't know how yet, assuming I didn't know what you do, right?
Right.
I wouldn't know what the product is, but I get the point. I get the why, the purpose.
Good. So I passed. I'm a good client of yours.
You're an
I'm
excellent.
learning something. I didn't always have that quick answer, by the way. So,
Right, you did. I know what you do, so I had to pretend I didn't know the answer. But for the rest of you guys here on the call, there is no right or wrong answer. I think it's a very personal choice. It's a strategic choice. That's why I call it a strategic narrative. It's because framing the narrative as such should trigger some basically really critical decision questions. So is that okay if I just, Dana, do you want to tell us what you do? Is that okay? You can say no. Yeah, okay, cool.
So there's what I do and what I'm trying to do.
Yes, okay, cool.
I'm looking on doing. So currently I'm in the financial services space in tax preparation and things like that. That's what I do every day. But I'm actually with a partner working on, we've actually formalized some businesses to kind of very similar to what you're doing, empower people in economic spaces through helping them get clarity about narrative and why they're doing it and things like this, which is why when I found your website, I was like, I need to learn more about how to do this and how to help people do this. Yeah, so this is very crazy and interesting and cool to me.
So let's explore then that question. Where are you taking, the people you want to serve? What's the literal place what's the new state, the new version of themselves you want to take them to? Do you have any idea yet? Like what could a better financial situation lead them towards? How would you say that?
So I think our concept is social change. Your economic power will lead you to pour social change into your communities and other communities and things like that. So your money is not for you, it's for you to create change. So
would that be okay if I reframe and say, we're going to take you to a place where you're going to be empowered to have a positive impact on your community and in terms of social change?
Yes.
You're going to be able to do, right? Okay, cool. You're going to be able to use your financial capabilities to do more than purchase things for yourself, but change maybe the life of others.
Yes.
All right. That's the start for your opportunity story right there. That's the destination. That's the figurative destination you want to take people.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope this is helpful. Read the chapter about it. This is a fairly short chapter. I added a lot more in my presentation today. This will be recording on YouTube if you want to work on this topic. It's 9:30 here. Do we have time for one last? That would be awesome if I had someone raising their, or you can say no. One time. Okay, Josh, go for it. Thank you so much, Josh.
Yeah.
Gender equality here, women, men, women. Awesome.
I've done some work kind of like this before, and we say so I have a graphic design agency in Seattle, and we like to say, let's design your future. And we came to that by if I put it in the archetype here, together we will design what you need together, because we open up our process for clients in order to get your success, get to your definition of success for yourself. What do you want for your business, for your life? Like what can, and our process, our design work gets you to that state. We don't talk about because if we don't, but it would be because your business will just stagnate or limp along or miss a huge opportunity.
You know, many small businesses die after 5 years, statistics show. There are certain years that are thresholds where the business is at risk if you don't have a strong narrative enough to perpetuate what you have to offer. So
yeah, and then the collective community, the we part, we haven't really, that wasn't part of the work that I did before, but we do talk about how we'd like to work with good people doing good work, the ones who we want to root for, the ones who we want to succeed, because if only good people doing good work succeed, then everything should get better collectively. But it's not all buttoned up.
Yeah, there must maybe some work to do there. As I always say, a narrative is always in constant evolution. It's never done, but it's always due. Right? You need it to hit certain specific deadlines, communications assets, cultural assets. A narrative is not just about the communication. It's about how you think, how you behave as well. It takes form in your tangible products. It's really everywhere. And that's a good segue to close today the session, at least the recording piece, and a good segue and a good transition to next week. Next week, I will talk about the third story in the model called, let me make sure I get this right, the perspective story. So finally, we'll get to that third story. I was so excited to talk about it today. All right.
Thank you, Guillaume.
Thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate you taking the time, carving out some moments of reflections and learning in your busy schedule. Dana, I will stop the recording and I will share the document with you. Thank you so much for joining. I hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Guillaume. Bye.
All right.